Hey guys, it's the 24th of March. I just passed the Laurel shelter. I have a shelter 7 miles ahead, 14 miles ahead, and I have Devil Fork junction, road junction, well, 20 miles ahead when I started this morning. 20.7, I think. So I just want to talk about the through hike for a few minutes, but I'm gonna click you over to the trail mode so you can see the trail. Okay, here's the trail. 24th of March. Just came out of Hemlock Hostel on Log Cabin Road, about 3 miles south of the Laurel shelter, en route to one of several places. There was, from Laurel shelter, there was another shelter 7 miles, another shelter 14 miles, and a road that was like Devil Fork Gap, like 16 miles from Laurel shelter. If I went to the latter, it would be a 20.7 mile day for me. You can see the conditions. I'm trying to protect you from the wind, so it may be a little muffled, but this is where we are. What I wanted to talk about was the through hike, the expectations of the through hike, experiences thus far. I know a number of you are saying, oh, we're concerned about you because of, you know, your comments are negative. I think they're realistic. All I know is what I have experienced. I don't know what the folks who came before me have experienced, or the ones after. I've had essentially these conditions for the month of March. Smokies left me with moderate frostbite on the fingers, lighter frostbite on the toes, dehydration, malnutrition, and 2 days mandatory stay in Gatlinburg to get my act together. Since then, went to Hot Springs, again in a storm, 5 inches of snow and ice on the tent the night prior, and running from the storm into Hot Springs, a 0. Then coming out with some reports of improved weather and some of sort of warmer rain and freezing rain or snow at night. So still doing pretty good miles. I did 16 plus yesterday and went to a hostel, and today, and I admit to you, my morale is up in spite of these conditions, which are again inaccurate given what the weather report said, which was it was going to be in the 40s today. It's nowhere near the 40s, and the wind chill, the gusts are certainly 20 to 25, so the wind chill's got to be in the 20s, or maybe even high teens. So this is what we've had. It bothers me to some degree because, as I told you, my preference was to be in my tent, vice shelters, because I think it's a better experience for what I was hoping for on the Appalachian Trail as far as communing with nature, living here, being out here, instead of being a shelter dweller and jumping from one shelter to the next. Now, I fear I am inclined to jump from hostel to hostel. Hemlock Hostel last night, Nature's Walk or Nature something hostel tonight. If I can make the 20.7 miles that it would take to get to Devil's Fork, I would absolutely do it. And, you know, at the end of the day is, I know that there's essentially 2 comments that'll respond to this. Well, 3. One is just going to be like, hey, great job, bear it out, doing great, carry on. The next one is going to be, hey, it snowed there in May 1st in 2015, or some other isolated instance. And to that I say, precedent makes bad case law. Anybody who's done a long section hike or through hike realizes that you have to plan for the median, but realizing that the median is by definition an average. Half the time it's going to be better, half the time it's going to be worse than that. To have your systems, sleep system, clothing system, shelter system, complementary rather than redundant, so that you can adjust within a range to off of the median, up or down. I'm actually pretty happy with my decisions. It didn't stop me from having my water and filtration system freeze and exacerbating the dehydration, or making it so miserable to be outside that I didn't want to cook, and exacerbating the malnutrition. And it doesn't stop those experiences from influencing my current decision making as far as, do I go from hostel to hostel? My morale actually today is really high. I'm actually comfortable out here. I have no reason to want to get off the trail, you know, right now, as long as I'm hiking. But as soon as I stop, everything plummets. Body temperature, and even morale to some degree, simply because it's a realization that the nighttime's only colder and harsher and frankly more dangerous. So I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. Having planned for the median, with, I think, pretty good decisions, with complementary systems that allow me to expand my spectrum up and down a little bit. But this year, from the 25th of February, really the 24th of February, because I started Amicalola then, to the 24th of March, conditions have been bordering on dangerous, and I have to make accommodations for that reality, for this year, for this experience, for this equipment. So I will do one of two things. If I can make the 20.7, I will hostel it again. If I cannot, then I will tent, which I think is warmer than the shelters, and try to stay hydrated and fed and as dry as possible. You've seen me, what happens when not really my rain fly gets wet, but my actual equipment, my quilt and sleep system get wet. I fret, and I think rightfully so. Okay. The second commenters say, well, you started in February. You started in the winter. This is the reality of a winter hike. True. Again, I don't regret my decision to start early. I think in most years, as we saw last year, would have been 24th of February, wasn't even early. However, there's an old saying that March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. I'm looking for the lamb. I give it. When it comes to views, I've actually been really lucky. I've had great views from a lot of great places. That has been a real blessing. I've been sort of fortunate. I mean, the only one that really stands out that I theoretically missed was Charlie's Bunyan. It seems like I've just been lucky that I've at least, even if it was freezing cold, I've at least had pretty good viewing days. So that has definitely fulfilled and sustained me as I have met the other challenges. When, because of a sustained environment or an acute environment, this system that you've selected doesn't meet it, then you have to make the right decision and, go for your health and safety. But I do want to share with you sort of what it's like. Maybe we'll be laughing together in May or June or something when it's so hot, you're sweating and like, oh my God. I'm still making pretty good time though. Like I said, I did do 16.5, 16.7, something like that yesterday. Can't really complain about that. But the conditions were actually really nice yesterday. My knee is, still gets a little twerky with this uneven surface, and I can feel it, but hopefully the downhill won't exacerbate it too much, and I can continue to make pretty good miles. And because of that downhill, I may actually be able to make that 20.7. That would be my third 20 in the last 7 days. Which is a lot, but you just running from storm after storm after storm. Tonight, freezing rain. Then it was supposed to be nice Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now they say probably colder and rainy. So this is just the way it's going to be. And all of us out here need to get our head around the fact that instead of hoping for the next day that's supposed to be nice, there isn't going to be a day that's supposed to be nice. It's going to be this. And even if it's warmer, this is going to turn to mud up to our ankles, and it's going to be slippery and dangerous. And this is just what the South is going to be for this year on the Appalachian Trail. And God knows what the rest of the states have in store for us. But we are knee deep in it right now. And I hear that the guys in front of me have had it worse. And that Roan Mountain looming there, I think somebody told me yesterday, maybe it was Yukon Rasputin, said there's 2 feet of snow up there. And again, it can snow up there anytime. I will have to position myself so I can get over that on a day that is relatively warm and precipitation-ish free, because that could get hairy pretty fast. It can get worse than the Smokies. So that is the chat for this morning. There was nothing really to show you the entirety of yesterday, so you sort of got what you got. I can promise you, from the looks of this, there's not going to be anything to show you today except for this. So you and I can both just sort of focus on all of these thoughts and what's next and how to manage the reality with the equipment and food supply and water supply and all that sort of thing that exists. Yes. I've heard about this one. This is the devil. So the bad weather trail is this nice trail, goes around the mountain, quicker, easier. Given this, easy to justify. The Appalachian Trail is white. See that white blaze? The bad weather trail is a blue blaze. Blue blaze, white blaze. Okay, exposed ridge. We got to do what we got to do. Okay. Just past, I think it was the Jerry shelter. So I've got 9 miles to go to Devil's Fork. There's one more shelter at 6.7 miles that I could jump if I need to. But looking for the 9. Snow's coming down pretty heavy now. Sorry I couldn't show you more views from the exposed ridge, but it was so windy and it was tearing up my tarp or my poncho, and so it was windy and cold. I got the best view I could for you. I'm sure others will get a little bit better. But now I understand we have one more significant mountain here, Butte Mountain or something like that. So we'll do that, get over it, slide into Devil's Fork Gap, and there's a couple other guys, I think 6 of them, who actually have already rented a cabin. So hopefully we'll hike in proximity to each other, kind of motivate each other for this leg. I'm feeling okay. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. I think 11 miles in. So, all right, guys. I'm sorry, there's just nothing to show you, and I gotta hunker down and get my head straight, get into this thing, get the hell out of this weather. Guys, I have 2.5 miles to go to get down to Devil's Fork Gap and head over to the Nature Inn, where the shuttle will pick me up to take me to the Nature Inn. That'll be another 20-mile day. I think it was 20.2 maybe, but a little over 20 anyway. Feeling pretty good actually, given the fact of you saw the weather. We had a couple significant uphills during the day. Had a long downhill, but fortunately it wasn't too brutal on the knees. I think I had told you that I had gotten a little bit of an upgraded knee brace for that right knee that I had injured when I tried to fall off the mountain. So yeah, pretty happy. Things are going pretty well. Okay, coming into Devil's Fork. Right there is where I came from. Flint Mountain Shelter 2.7, Jerry 9.4, remember we passed all those. Allen Gap 21.6. Allen Gap was just before Log Cabin Road, which was 20 point something. So this is what it looks like. I don't know if that black car is the shuttle. I don't see anybody in it, so we'll have to play it by ear. I'm waiting for a couple other people who also were going to come down here and do a cabin. I wasn't able to make an arrangement for cabin or bunkhouse, so we'll just have to, again, play it by ear. Oh, wait. That's interesting. That is actually sort of famous, right? That's the first steps over. That's the first stairs that are built over the fence line. And I can't remember why they do that. If this is like private property that they let people go on, or if it's public, but they also let them keep cattle on it or something. Yeah, that's sort of cool. Okay. So we will go to Nature's Inn tonight, and then we will see what we're going to do, whether we slack pack tomorrow or we just head on. Okay. Once again, good night, guys. Thanks a bunch.